Hey there, everybody. It's Natchez, and this is the second part of the Homeschooling 101 series that I promised you. Tonight we are going to talk about homeschool style, and I am back in my bathtub because it is the quietest place in my house. Before I get started, hey B, I just wanted to do a couple of housekeeping things. Houston is currently a hotspot or a growing hotspot. And I've had some friends contact me to say that hey Sabrina, that they cannot find Lysol wipes anymore. So I just kind of wanted to pop in here and just remind you that Young Living has their own product line called Thieves. They have cleaner, they have wipes, they have sanitizer. Thieves is the only thing that I use. I don't have any Lysol wipes in my house. I don't have any Clorox in my house. Thieves is what I use, and it is non-toxic, and it is not going to disrupt your endocrine system. It's not going to disrupt your respiratory system either. And so you may be somebody who struggles with your respiratory system anyway. You may have some struggles there, and you cannot use like regular commercial cleaners because of their strength and their toxicity. Young Living's is pure essential oils, right? So just a heads up there, if you need something, I can get you a 24% discount, right? So let's get into what we're going to talk about tonight, and that is your style. So I hope you know that like I'm not going to talk to you about like getting dressed up on a homeschool day. Like clearly I'm in a t-shirt and pants, and I typically I don't wear makeup. This is just me. Hey Kim. So what I mean by style is I want you to think about maybe what worked last year for you and your kiddo at home and what didn't work. And be very, very clear in your mind about what did not work. Is it that you couldn't plug into the Zoom meetings? Is it that you could not oversee your child sitting there at working at a desk? Like, what was it that was not working? And keep that in the back of your mind. Hopefully, you did your little homework and you know exactly what you want to get out of homeschool next year. And even if you don't know, even if you don't think you're going to be homeschooling, the vision that you have for your kiddo, you can actually take that to your ARD meeting and clearly spell out, this is what I want for my child. I've done that. I had a parent agenda, and it came right out of the Rights Law book, and I wrote out, boom, 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 this is what I wanted, and I gave it to the ARD committee ahead of time. I emailed it out and said, this is what I want, and then they worked with me on meeting those goals. Right, so you are a critical part of the ARD committee, and so just like you're a critical part of the ARD committee, you are it when it comes to homeschool, right? So think about your style. Okay, so if you, whether or not you work with the school next year, I know they're going to do some distance learning. They're going to have some kind of opt-in or whatever, and so I guess what I'm saying is you can decide, are you going to send your child back to school? Are you going to do distance learning? And if you do distance learning, what is that going to look like exactly? And did it work out with your kiddo, plugging in online? Because if it didn't, you don't have to do it that way. Hey, Ellie. I keep turning around because I don't know if one of my kids is going to come into the bathroom, right, area where I am. So they're not supposed to. I thought I locked the door. We'll see. All right, so there are a couple of different things in regard to your style. So I want you to think back of when you went to school. I want you to think about a teacher that you really liked, or a class that you really liked, and why you liked that. And then I want you to think about how you can bring that into your schooling, so or into your teaching style, as opposed to thinking about, okay, I want my kid to do math next year, so I need to find the math curriculum. My kid needs to sit at my kid needs to sit at a desk and needs to do problems 1 through 15, and he just needs to do the evens, or he just needs to do the odds. Don't think about that. Don't. okay? Before you get there, you need to think about you, because if you don't think about you, you're going to get burned out. So I want you to go back, think about the teacher, think about the class, think about why you liked it. I'll give you some examples. Maybe you liked theater, okay? Maybe you liked to get up on a stage and sing and dance. Maybe that was you in high school, and that's what you looked forward to, okay? You can bring that into your homeschool. You can do plays in literature. You can do plays in science. You can do plays in history. You can act out different things. It does not need to be my child used to sit at a desk the whole time. If your kiddo isn't a desk sitter, you don't have to do that. There's nothing anywhere that says that your kid has to sit at the kitchen table and be stuck there and do that work all day, unless you're opting into whatever public school program you're doing, and then your kiddo may not have the freedom that like my kids have, for example, in true homeschooling. Okay, so that's one thing. I'll give you another example. Maybe you are a nature person. You just love nature. You're always outside. You have a green thumb. You like to garden. So garden. If you love to garden, then garden, and garden with your kids. You can read books about gardening. You can have the kids plan the beds. In where I used to work, in kindergarten and first grade, maybe even pre-K, they planned a pizza garden, which was really cool, right? So the kids went in and they planned so they planned what they wanted on their pizza, and then they went and they planted all of these things. And of course, like the older you are, the older your child is, the more involved they can be in those kinds of things. Like they can actually create the dimensions of the bed, they can build the garden, they can figure out how much the materials are going to cost. I mean, you can do all of this. That's science, that's math, that's reading. You can do these kinds of things and take a month to do it. All right, so that's just an idea, right? So if you're a gardening person, if you are a nature person, I see several of my friends that have like really taken advantage of this quarantine, and they've gone out to like these isolated places in nature, and they're just beautiful. All right, so here's another idea. I have friends who are families of bird watchers, and so you can get a birding book of Texas and go out and look for the various birds. And so what are you learning? You're learning about Texas. You are learning about where you live. You're learning about science. You can take pictures of these birds. You can have the kids trace them out. You can collect feathers. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do to incorporate birding, for example, into or nature into a homeschool, and it's not sitting there at a desk all day, right? Because I know a lot of our kids aren't sitters by nature. Another example, you might like to read. You might love sitting down and reading aloud to your kids. Maybe that's your strength. That's totally cool. And you might be going, well, I can't do science read-alouds. Yeah, you can actually, because I can tell you that science is not my strength. But let me show you kind of what I'm doing, right? So I have this book here, Gorillas by Gail Gibbons. And Gail Gibbons is a very good, like science, she's more of a science-y kind of picture book author. And so let me just kind of show you here, right? So she has lots of information here about gorillas, where they live. So that's geography. And she has a diagram here and has the parts of the gorilla labeled. She goes through the different kinds of gorillas, right? You see where I'm going here? See, for something like this for my kiddo, if I wanted to make a unit on gorillas, we could read about this. We could check out a video from the library about Coco. I mean, all kinds of things, right? I could make a copy of this, blow it up, and then take all of these little labels cut them out and then make it into like a Velcro kind of activity for them, where I have them label the parts of the gorillas. We could go into the differences between gorillas and monkeys, and then before you know it, that month is over, and I can move on to something else, right? Like, it doesn't have to be hard, and it can actually go along with what you like to do. Like, I used to teach middle school English. I loved the classics. I loved, just reading aloud to my kids. I love teaching writing. So those are going to be my strengths, and those are going to be the things that I like to do. And so what I would encourage you in thinking about style is thinking about what are the things that you love to do, because your passion is going to help you teach your children, and it's going to help them get excited about what you like to do, because that's what you're going to be doing. I mean, if you're going to be doing this all year long, you're going to want to love it. You don't want it to be a chore. So I would encourage you to definitely think about your why, what you want to get done with your kids, and then think about your style. And the next time that we get together, maybe Saturday, we are going to talk about homeschool laws and a schedule, like a rough schedule for you. So if you have any idea if you're going to be working with your schools or on your own, how many months, what subjects you have to teach, and then after that we'll start getting into the nitty gritty of choosing curriculum, and I'll review some of the stuff that I'm using, and then we'll start mapping out the year. All right, so I hope that you're finding this helpful, and I hope that you don't feel like you're stuck in a box, because truly with homeschooling you're not. It's just a different way of thinking. And it's also a way that you can incorporate you and who you love to be and the things that you love to do with your kids, and just helping them to love learning. That's what I like about homeschooling. All right, hope you guys have a good night.